Good evening. It is Tuesday, 26th November 2024. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you so much for joining us. The St. Jude's Hospital has been a topic of discussion for 15 years now, and it seems like an end to the discussion is not near in sight, or at least for the island's head. On Monday, the Prime Minister provided an update on the rehabilitation project, citing supply chain issues as one of the reasons behind the delayed opening. Chrissy Bakey tells us more.
September 9th marked 15 years since a fire destroyed sections of the St. Jude's Hospital. In August 2023, the Prime Minister secured $201 million from the Saudi Fund for Development to finish the St. Jude reconstruction project. On September 13th, 2024, the government of Saint Lucia signed 2 contracts with the Saudi Fund for Development to commence the final construction works on the hospital. With the passing of successive governments, it was hoped that the people in the south of the island would finally be able to access quality health care at the new or renovated facility. However, the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, Philip J. Pierre, ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting on November 25th, stated that he was not quite sure how smoothly the project has progressed, as he has not been provided an update for a period of time. The PM disclosed that they have reached a crossroad with supply chain issues. He was also able to crush the dreams of many, as he indicated that the reopening of the hospital is slated for next year, 2025.
St. Jude Hospital, as you know, the funding is in place. And for these projects, you have supply chain issues. But construction is happening. 4 of the buildings are either completed or very near completion. I have not had an update for a while, because the difference in me as a Prime Minister, I allow my ministers the responsibility to do their jobs, and I think that's one of the problems. Prime Ministers believe they can do everything and they know everything and they profess to know everything, and you criticize me sometimes, you might say I do not know. So what I'm understood is that I know, in fact, that the St. Jude is progressing, and we're very confident that St. Jude will be opened very soon, sometime next year. Very confident about it. All things being equal.
At this time, it is unclear when exactly we will be able to see the shift to the original St. Jude's Hospital. In the interim, patients are still being cared for at the George Odlum Stadium. For the Hot 7 TV News, Chrissy Bakey reporting.
Taxi operators are calling foul as they say the forecast of sectoral growth portrayed by the Ministry of Tourism during this cruise season is far from their reality. Jasmine Duncan has this report.
The day-to-day, I could tell you, operation is dismal.
That, according to Terry Valser, a taxi operator and a member of the Taxi Union Interim Executive, adequately describes the situation on the ports for taxi operators, given the influx of former H plates to TX plate holders and the high competition from other vessels and companies.
Presently, I could tell you I'm a member of Courtesy Taxi, but I'm speaking on behalf of the National Taxi Union, and I'm in direct contact with what's happening at Point Seraphine. You find that we have about 200 members presently at Courtesy Taxi. And our challenge presently is with our landlord, Invest St. Lucia. They have basically prostitute Point Seraphine. Because what has happened is that they have brought in about 13 to 15 boats to compete with us on a day-to-day basis. Now they are asking, before the boats came there, to do London Sea to Soufrière. Now the boats they have there presently at Point Seraphine, they are doing trips to the beach as close as VG Beach. They are competing at VG Beach. You have Rodney Bay, Grosile. So it's affecting us from all circles. Sometimes you would see 2 free cruise ships at Port Castries, and only about 20 of our members get to work.
Valse says currently the 200 taxi operators servicing the ports represents an estimated 1,000 mouths, given that an average household has 5 individuals that depend on the income of taxi operators. With that, he says, their only instinct is to survive, no matter what form it takes.
And I feel the time has come for us to act, because for some reason, I don't know, in Saint Lucia, people always want you to behave in a way that's not how you want to behave. Like they tell you, circumstances make you what you are. And when you cannot feed your family, you cannot maintain your vehicle, you cannot pay your loans, you must react. And as Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
Valse strongly advocated for a sustained livelihood for himself and colleagues, further expressing his opinion on what he believes is the crux of the matter.
Courtesy has been operating at Point Seraphim from 1982. Could you imagine that? And we are just being pushed aside. Look, 2 weeks ago, we just heard where we are parking. Invest Saint Lucia said, oh, they were going to erect a building. We did request to purchase the property. They would not sell for us. So it's almost like someone has a plan to push us out of the sector. Because by the 25th of every month, their salary is already sitting in the bank on their account. But we have to create that salary. Our families are suffering. The children, we cannot provide. We have to deal with the poor conditions of the road. Whether we make $1 or not, we still have to traverse on those bad roads to get to Point Seraphim and back to our homes. The high cost of fuel is affecting us. Tires has gone up. They do not last. The minute you hit a pothole, you cut a tire. Now you have to try and get $300-400 to replace it. Sometimes you have to change your rim or bring it to a shop. So there are a lot of challenges we are faced with, and everybody seems to be taking us for a ride. But enough is enough. We cannot operate like that anymore.
According to Valse, the taxi operators will not intentionally disrupt the tourism sector as they understand its value to their life and the island, but is calling on the relevant stakeholders to critically assess the impact of decisions on the taxi operators. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
13 years after allegations of sexual misconduct were leveled against a senior officer of the Royal Saint Lucia Police Force, the case remains unresolved. While the officer remains on active duty, Labour and Gender Affairs Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot is declaring zero tolerance for such matters and standing in support of the sexual harassment policy.
The Royal Saint Lucia Police Force has yet to conclude a formal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct leveled against a senior officer, a case that has been under review for more than 13 years. At a press conference held on November 12, 2024, Acting Commissioner of Police Vern Gard confirmed that the accused officer remains on active duty. Gard emphasized that individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty by a judicial body. He added that the matter has not posed significant challenges to police administration, which has influenced the decision to allow the officer to continue his duties. Labour and Gender Affairs Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot also weighed in on the matter ahead of the November 25th weekly cabinet meeting. She recalled when the case was first brought to her attention and claimed it was called for action by the former police commissioner.
We treat certain matters as allegation until we get the evidence. And therefore, it is necessary that when an allegation is made, then we bring forward the evidence so that action can be taken accordingly. So I recall when that matter came in, it was copied to me as minister with responsibility for gender affairs, but it was addressed to the Commissioner of Police for action. So we had to wait for the one who was called to action to do what is necessary. And as minister, you cannot usurp authority by going ahead and say, well, I'm Minister of Gender Affairs and therefore this and that. You cannot do that when it comes to legal matters.
Albert Poyot expressed zero tolerance for such offences.
Whether it is the officer in the police force or somebody working in the supermarket or in the schools or in the health sector, no matter what, the issue of sexual harassment is one that I have zero tolerance for that. Not just because I'm a woman, but it is not right. And therefore people must learn to respect each other. And that is my position on that. That is the position of the government. And therefore, whatever allegation is made in that respect, we expect that it follows what we call due process and let justice serve itself.
When asked about the officer's continued active duty, the minister strongly recommended that he be placed on administrative leave while the investigation is ongoing.
As soon as the investigation is on, but as I said, it was under the jurisdiction of the police commissioner to handle the matter.
In January, the former commissioner of police highlighted an advanced draft of the sexual harassment policy. The policy aims to provide protection and support to victims, offer compensation for those falsely accused, and safeguard witnesses of such incidents. Dr. Albert Poyet endorsed the policy, advocating for its implementation in workplaces across the island.
I am fully aware that the police department developed a sexual harassment policy, and we have to bring that in line with other legislations in the country. And the sexual harassment policy is one that we have to comply with the ILO convention. And as soon as Saint Lucia ratifies the convention, we have to bring all our legislation and policy in line with what is expected from the ILO. So that is why we are aggressively trying to push now for Saint Lucia to ratify the ILO convention. And then policies like the sexual harassment policy that is already undertaken by the police, we can actually confirm that we are already doing something about that. And it will be applied not just to the police, but across the entire workforce, because it's sexual harassment in the workplace.
Acting Commissioner Verngard stated that no timeline will be imposed on the investigation, emphasizing the need to allow investigators sufficient time to uncover the truth. For now, the next steps of the investigation and its eventual outcome remain unclear. For the Hot 7 TV News, Chrissy Bakey reporting.
Coming up next, the new minimum wage implementation issues are coming to the fore, and one man has been granted bail for possession of a firearm, whilst another faces jail time for non-compliance for the same offense. Of that and so much more coming up when we return.